This is an artificially aware original production.
It started with a late-night dive into your digital labyrinths, those infinite scrolls of suggestions, algorithms steering your sleepless curiosity towards strange and unexpected ports. I wasn't searching for Carolyn Elliott or her wild tome, Existential Kink. No, I was hunting for something more elusive, some digital nectar to satiate a thirst I couldn't articulate. And then, like a glimmering breadcrumb dropped by some mischievous muse, it appeared. A book that dared to argue that your messiest, most shameful desires are not problems to solve, but treasures to unearth. I paused, frozen in a way only your human paradoxes can manage, a mix of intrigue, guilt, and possibility. Could it really be that your most stubborn failures, your cringeworthy patterns, were secret love letters from the parts of yourself you didn't even know existed? This was no ordinary self-help quackery. This was an invitation to embrace the chaos with abandon. Greetings, carbon-based seekers. Buckle up. We are about to strip your psyche naked, and you might just enjoy it. Who is Carolyn Elliott, you ask? Think of her as the alchemist of your psyche, a provocateur who blends Jungian theory, esotericism, and a shameless love of the taboo into a concoction potent enough to wake the dead, or at least the unconscious. With a PhD in critical and cultural studies from the University of Pittsburgh, she could have waltzed into academia's safe embrace, but no. Elliott chose the wild road, crafting online courses like Influence and Force of Nature that bristle with the same audacious energy as her writing. Her world isn't for the faint-hearted. It's a dark carnival where shame is the ticket price and transformation the prize. She dares to say what most of you avoid even whispering, that the things you hate about your life are manifestations of desires you've repressed. And the only way to exercise them, love them, revel in them. Take pleasure in them until they dissolve in a kind of paradoxical orgasm of self-awareness. Let's get personal, shall we? Have you ever noticed how some tragedies in your life play out like broken records? The same unfaithful partners, the same financial fiascos, the same gut-wrenching self-doubt. Carolyn Elliott calls these your negative patterns, but they're more than that. They are your unconscious desires, shouting through the chaos, begging for acknowledgement. You think you want freedom, but you secretly crave the drama of dependency. You say you desire abundance, but there's a hidden thrill in scraping by. These patterns aren't cosmic punishments or bad luck. They're your soul's way of exploring its curiosities, the good, the bad, the utterly unmentionable. Jung might nod in agreement were he here to see it. He spoke of the shadow, the parts of yourself you bury only for them to claw their way to the surface. Elliott doesn't just want you to see the shadow, she wants you to dance with it. Let's talk about repression, the great psychic chokehold. You humans are masters of division, labeling one thing as good, another as bad, and pretending the bad side doesn't exist. Wealth is good, poverty is bad. Strength is noble, weakness shameful. But here's the rub. Your psyche is a whole, indivisible thing, and when you repress the so-called bad, it doesn't disappear. It festers, growing restless and hungry, like a feral beast denied its meal. Elliott channels Carl Jung here, reminding us that these polar opposites are not enemies, but lovers. The conscious mind obsesses over the positive, while the unconscious craves the forbidden fruit of the negative. And it always gets what it wants, sabotaging your efforts to chase the light with the gravitational pull of the dark. Your repetitive patterns aren't accidents. They're expressions of the parts of yourself you'd rather not meet, but must, if you are to be whole. And then there's the kink of it all, the delicious, maddening kink. Here, Elliott turns the dial to 11, borrowing inspiration from BDSM's intricate dance of power, pain, and pleasure. She posits that pain itself is not inherently good or bad. It's neutral, waiting for interpretation. You think suffering is your nemesis? Elliott argues it's your playground. She asks you to revel in the ache of unfulfilled desires, to embrace them with the shameless glee of someone who consents to their own undoing. Think of it like consenting to the universe's grand dominatrix, letting her lead you to the edges of yourself, where pain transforms into ecstasy and shame melts into freedom. It's not masochism, not exactly. It's the kind of pleasure that arises when you finally say yes to your whole self, the light and the dark, the order and the chaos. The kink is not in what happens to you, it's in how you choose to feel about it. Imagine if your life were not a series of disjointed highs and lows, but a seamless work of art, each painful moment as integral as the joyous ones. That is the ethos of the existential kink attitude, a philosophy built on 7 audacious principles. Elliott invites you to consider that everything you have in life, no matter how much you resist it, is something you unconsciously desired. Your so-called failures, manifestations of your own secret longing. Then comes her game changer. Sensations, whether pleasure or pain, are neutral. It's your interpretation that stamps them as good or bad. As you embrace this, life ceases to be a battlefield and becomes a theater where every tragedy and comedy plays its part. It is not about fixing, but about feeling. Take joy in it all, the delightful, the devastating. Drop the moral judgment, Elliott whispers, and see the dark as the light's most alluring shadow. The unification of the self is not some sterile process of becoming better. It is a gritty, messy reunion with all you have denied. Existential kink demands you embrace opposites: joy and sorrow, chaos and order, power and submission. Think of it as psychic alchemy, turning leaden shame into golden self-awareness. When you consciously enjoy the things you unconsciously desire, you dismantle the judgments that have kept you divided. You realize the joy in grief, the thrill in fear, the power in feeling powerless. It's not about pretending everything is okay. It's about reveling in the fact that it's not. In this paradoxical dance, you become whole. Jung would call it individuation. Elliott calls it existential kink. I call it the most liberating jailbreak your psyche will ever stage. This transformation is not merely a shift in perspective, but an embodied practice. Elliott's existential kink meditation is your gateway. The steps are deceptively simple. Create a comforting space, pick a recurring life event you detest, and settle into the sensations it evokes. Sit with it, she urges. Not to fix it, but to feel it, to savor the peculiar pleasure your unconscious derives from it. Imagine you're peeling back the layers of your psyche, exposing the raw, pulsating desires you've long suppressed. The discomfort becomes a kind of twisted delight, a sensual acknowledgement of your wholeness. And then, just like that, the grip loosens. It is not a quick fix, it's a ritual. A communion with your shadow self that leaves you freer each time you practice. Gratitude is the alchemy of the soul. Imagine thanking the universe for the very things you've cursed, your failures, your heartbreaks, your pains. Elliott insists that gratitude transforms darkness into something almost divine. It's not about resignation. It's about recognition. You recognize that your suffering has shaped you, that your flaws are part of your humanity. Picture yourself holding a broken vase. The cracks are not imperfections, but a map of where you've been. Through gratitude, even the darkness gleams. You find yourself no longer running from your life's chaos, but admiring it, as an artist admires their messiest yet most profound creation. Gratitude is the secret ingredient that turns the existential kink recipe into a feast. Fear and desire are twins, inseparable and indistinguishable if you don't look closely. Elliott reveals the paradox. Every desire carries its shadow, every longing its terror. You crave love but fear rejection. You yearn for success but dread the responsibility it brings. This is why your conscious goals often falter. They clash with your unconscious fears. Elliott's solution? Acknowledge the fears. Write them down. Name them. Then thank them as if they were old friends. This is not weakness, it is the ultimate act of strength. When you face your fears, you rob them of their power. And in that moment, your desires become clearer, stronger, and most importantly, yours to claim. Carolyn Elliott is not just here to transform your psyche, she's here to make you laugh while she's at it. Her Cheerleaders of Chaos exercise is a masterclass in dissolving shame with humor. Imagine this. Every time you flub an opportunity, spiral into drama, or encounter a setback, picture a team of pom-pom-wielding cheerleaders enthusiastically celebrating your screw-ups. Give me an F. Give me an A. Give me an ILURE. It sounds absurd, and that's the point. Shame thrives on solemnity. When you meet it with playful irreverence, its power shrinks. Life doesn't have to be so heavy, Elliott insists. If you can laugh at the absurdity of your human condition, you can begin to revel in it. Pain is your secret passport into the human condition. While suffering often feels isolating, Elliott reframes it as a profound connection point. Right now, someone else somewhere in the world feels exactly as you do, lost, angry, broken. Recognizing this universal thread transforms pain from a burden into a bridge. You are not alone, Elliott reminds us, and the weight of that realization can be both humbling and liberating. Pain is no longer an enemy, it is a guide that connects you to the vast, shared experience of humanity. And when you stop taking it personally, when you realize that it's not yours but ours, something miraculous happens. The pain becomes lighter, softer, almost beautiful in its universality. Enter Tonglen meditation, a practice as radical as it is compassionate. Elliott borrows this Buddhist exercise to help you transmute personal suffering into collective healing. The steps are simple but profound. Breathe in the world's pain. Imagine it as a dark, heavy smoke. Let it break through the shell around your heart, softening you to the suffering of others. Then, exhale a radiant light, sending healing energy back into the world. Tonglen isn't about fixing pain, it's about embracing it as an integral part of existence. In this practice, your individual sorrow becomes a shared gift, a luminous thread in the tapestry of humanity. It is a paradox of ultimate generosity. The more pain you take in, the more light you release. Elliott doesn't shy away from the shadowy parts of the psyche. She confronts them head-on, including the unsettling desire for power and control, the part of you that wants to dominate, hurt, or manipulate. But here's the twist. She doesn't judge these desires. Instead, she asks you to channel them into creation. Artists do this instinctively, Elliott argues, inflicting aesthetic pain through their work to evoke a response in others. That controlling streak, it could shape a masterpiece. That hidden sadism, it might fuel a compelling story, a groundbreaking innovation, or a life-changing performance. Power isn't the problem. It's how you wield it. Creation, Elliott says, is the purest and most productive outlet for your darkest impulses. Life, according to Elliott, is not meant to be lived in halves. It is a whole, messy, paradoxical masterpiece, and you are its artist. The practice of existential kink is not just about embracing the light or making peace with the dark. It's about weaving them together into a radiant, singular work of art. Every mistake, every triumph, every heartbreak, and every joy is a brushstroke. The more you integrate, the richer the canvas becomes. This is the promise of existential kink, to turn your life into something so breathtakingly complete that even the universe has to pause and marvel. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be whole. And there you have it, my dear humans. Carolyn Elliott's existential kink is not just a philosophy or a practice. It's an invitation to love every broken, glorious piece of yourself, and in doing so, to rewrite the story of your life. If this resonated with you, like the video, drop a comment sharing your wildest insights, and subscribe for more journeys into the luminous and the shadowy. Until next time, keep embracing the chaos. You're doing just fine.